Yes, Ebonites, as promised, I'm not a man that I should lie, nor a son of man that I should change my mind. I did promise you that we will be speaking to Nobantu Maisel, representing Pumalanga, that is Miss Bachelorette finalist. Nobantu is a bank branch manager with an honors degree. She unfortunately comes from a family that has experienced different types of abuse, herself included. She therefore wants to use this platform to prove to her family and any other abuse victim that obstacles can be overcome and resilience can be developed. And on the line, as promised, is Nobantu Maisel. Sawubona.
Hi, how are you?
I am butting handsome. And yourself?
Uh, Anxious. I don't know why, but my tummy is doing some things, but besides that, I'm okay.
All right. What are you doing here today? What is Miss Bachelorette?
Miss Bachelorette is a pageant. I know that a lot of people, when I joined, they thought it's one of those, that show where you go when you're a single woman and you're looking for a partner.
That's what I thought
But
too.
that's what you thought as well, right?
Yeah.
Well, it is not. It is a show. It is a pageant
Mhm.
that advocates for women empowerment,
Okay.
that stands against GBV and femicide, and the entire pageant aims to build role models for young girls. I think one of the things that spoke to me more than anything was that what they created, that let us fall in love, let us date, let us marry because of we are in love, not because of we are hungry and we want to be
Hmm.
fed. And I know it sounds otherwise, but the truth of the matter is there is a portion of GBV that comes from women who are struggling and they're
Yeah.
sticking around because of they cannot take care of themselves. So it's all about let's empower each other. Let us be independent. Let's have our things. When I marry, let it be not because I want to be fed, but let it be because of it's just because I'm in love. Yes, we can quote all these things in the Bible and everything, but now where we are, we need to be in a position where we have everything before we even engage in marital matters. But yeah, so Miss Bachelorette is just about that. It advocates for women. It stands against GBV and femicide, and I'm a survivor myself.
Hmm. Do you want to take us through that, or is it a sensitive story?
No, it's not. I can. I
Just
have
briefly,
healed.
yes.
And and I know that a lot of times when you start speaking about GPV, the first thing that comes to mind for a lot of people, from a lot of people, is that you've experienced it from your partner or from your husband. To be quite honest, my story is different.
Okay.
At the age of 6, I was nearly killed by my brother.
Yo.
And to be quite honest, for something very silly, bread, because he bought bread and there was no bread anymore in the house. I don't know who had eaten the bread or who ate the bread. And that day, he was actually beating up his girlfriend the whole day. It was a norm. I think he had anger issues, unfortunately, I think that was like more than 30 years ago. So, the thing that we talk about now, your mental health, your mental issues that we engage on lately, it was things that we never really entertained back then, to be quite honest. And
True.
I think I must admit, I think my brother was going through a lot himself, because of we didn't have a very easy upbringing. So he kept on asking me, where is bread? And I kept on saying, I don't know. And I can even remember the meal that I was eating that day, frozen pap with peas.
Yo.
frozen, literally frozen pap with peas. And when he kept on asking me, I didn't know where was the bread. I never ate bread. I had just come from the streets and I was just in the house trying to grab something so that I can fill up my tummy. He just pulled me into the bedroom and he started beating me up. I don't know, a few minutes, my brother came. He called my brother and then he asked my brother, where is bread? I bought bread. And it's funny that he didn't want to leave the bedroom to go and check the bread himself because he was beating up his woman. He didn't want to leave the woman there. I don't know why. And when my brother said he doesn't know his way, he pulled my brother in the bedroom. So there
What?
was three of us that he was busy beating up in there. So with me, I had a very bad injury at the back of my head. And then I was told, and my mom then, because she was not staying with us at home, she was working far, I think about 100 kilometers away from us. When she came, she was told that I needed to be careful, even when playing with other kids, because of I had a very bad fracture. Even now, I still had a very bad, bump or hump, if I can put it like that, on my head. But I forgave him. Look, I really, he is late. I forgave him. I think for me, being a Christian woman, more than anything, I'm not gonna lie, is what allowed me or gave me an opportunity to heal. If it wasn't for Christ, I was not gonna heal. That is the honest truth. But I'm happy that when he passed on, I had already made peace with him, and I didn't even have to have him apologizing. He did. But yeah, to me, it wasn't about the apology. It was about me more than anything. So yeah, that's how I survived.
So, did you? I know forgiving and him apologizing is one thing, but did you go through a process, and the process would be therapy in order to deal with that situation? Having mentioned Uguti, in those days we never really took to head in Dabazama therapy and mental health and all that. Did you eventually get help in terms of just letting this go, or did you sweep it under the carpet and just forgave him through Christ?
To be quite honest, I don't recall going through that process. I was young. I
Mm.
think I can recall that process specifically because of the impact it had on me. But I don't recall, really going through that process of finding or seeking help. But I know that later in my life, a number of things that took place, growing up, they did catch up with me. I think with my approach, I mean, I've been leading in two banks for like about 9 years. And I think, my leadership style was influenced by my background. And when I say by my background, that, on its own, maybe I never healed, maybe I didn't really entertain. But I know that now as an adult, I had to go through a process where I seek help. I speak about it. I get to, relive, the moments that I went through besides that part, because there was a lot that took place at home. I mean, growing up in Soweto, it was hectic back then, to be quite honest, but like I said, I think I didn't really go through therapy to entertain that particular event. I
Okay.
went through therapy to entertain my entire background,
Hmm.
my entire life as a whole, and that's where I got to realize that my approach in leadership, I think, I spoke to one of my leaders once, in one of the banks that I worked for previously, and she said, look, you're a good leader, a very good leader. You deliver, in terms of performance, you're good in terms of client service, in terms of development there, but you are too strict.
Mm.
Your background reference, you don't leave room for error.
Mm.
And to be quite honest, I meant no harm. I meant well. I think because of I know how hard life was and how I could not afford to fault
Whew.
or afford to make any mistake,
Whew.
and how I would not have anyone to bring me back from it. I
Mm.
wanted to breathe in the same thing to my staff members. As a result, it seemed as if I was too hard. Okay, maybe I was too hard, but the intention was not that, was not for me to be too hard. I think the intention was just to build, a team of responsible citizens that can just respect clients, respect their jobs, and really honor the opportunity that we have been granted in a workplace. But yeah, in short, not going through therapy has influenced how I lead.
Wow.
There's an advantage to it, there is a disadvantage to it, but there's results to it. There is things that don't go very right in it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Lastly, on this point, I'm interested to know how you approach relationships. Did this affect your relationships with male people? And when I say relationships, I don't mean just romantic relationships. Just it could be a working relationship and all that with males. How they speak to you. Was there ever a point where you would have triggers of how males speak to you, and you felt like you needed to be assertive or protect yourself?
Look, I love the fact that you have actually used the word assertive. Just before I give you an answer, please allow me to, stray a bit. But I just want to say one of the things that I took away from therapy was that my entire life I had believed that I'm aggressive. I was made to believe I'm aggressive because of my approach in things. I believe doing things right and doing things right the first time. And because of that, when people looked at me and concluded me or, tried defining Nobantu, they would say I'm aggressive. But therapy taught me that I'm an assertive person and actually I'm a bit passive at times. I allow people to use me like a doormat. And solely because I'm a caring person. In the midst of being strict, I'm one person that is reliable. I'm one person that to a person you can just count on me when you need me.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
be there. I just wanted to pass there. So I am an assertive person and I've taken that from therapy. But I'm gonna come to this now. Naturally, it's a thing for me, to be firm with things and to be direct. It's a that is just me. And I believe in authenticity. I believe in being authentic as a person. I never had to treat male friends or colleagues any different around me. In fact, funny enough, I've gotten along more with males than females,
Okay.
funny enough. So it didn't really have an effect on me. But in terms of relationships, maybe some, because look, how I see myself, because I believe as a leader, you must be self aware. How I see myself and how I interpret myself could be different, from how a person receives me.
Yes. True.
I know that in a workplace, we always take, feedback, but in a relationship, it's very rare,
Yeah.
except when there's
True.
a heated argument. So maybe whoever that I've dated may say something different, but I know that I'm just a person that is strict, like I said. If you commit to something, stick to it.
Yes.
Respect your commitment. If you can't do it, apologize. Take responsibility, take accountability, own up. That's it. And I think for some people it's a little bit too much. But yeah.
I think I can relate with you, being a leader myself where I work. I think it's hard to switch off from being a manager, I should say, when you're home and you're so used to deliverables. Okay, like you
Yeah.
say, so used to deliverables. When you instruct people, they have to come back with deliverables, and then when you get home, you at times can't help but be still in that mode of management, and then you're expecting deliverables also. If you like you say if you say you said you were going to do this, I want it done. And you come across as boasting, and it's not being boast. It's just it's hard to switch off. It's hard to switch off from being a manager to a teddy bear at home. So I kinda understand. So going back to Miss Bachelorette, um
Yeah.
how then did you enter, and where are you now with regards to the whole process?
Okay, look, I saw a post. In fact, there is a lady that I saw who used to, campaign, and I had an interest. Funny enough, I never asked her, I never inquired. The following year, when I saw this was advertised, I applied. I was at home, I was going through a season in my life, and I'm like, you know what, this speaks to me. This could be the time, and I applied, via the link online. We had to go through a number of things, interviews, and details of our background and our stories. It was quite a lengthy process, but a good enough process, because it really digged deeper into who we are, or who you are, and why you were entering. That's how I entered. And then at this moment, when we started, we were 25, and then we had a round of, it was us semi-finalists, the ones that made it through, and then there was a first round, the first cut, where they then took us to the top 14 finalists. That is where I am. And now in April, we're going to be having the finalists, where we're going to be having our queen, our first princess, and our second princess. So we're campaigning, we going around putting out the word, what the pageant is about. Of course, relying on people's support, hoping for sponsorships, because of, at the same time, the pageant is an organization that gives back, to people. If you will go through the page, you will see they've adopted some families, where the organization gives back to people that are not able to take care of themselves, just to kickstart them in terms of business and things like that. So I'm there. I'm on my route to being a queen, and I love to believe, with all the support from Mpumalanga people and Gauteng, of course, because that's where I was born. They mustn't sideline me, that I will make it and be crowned. So that is where we are with the competition.
Okay, and obviously people have heard that there is voting and support that is needed in this case. How do people then support you? You said sponsorships, and when it comes to the finalists, how do they support you as Unobantu, the individual?
With sponsorships, if there's companies that are interested to sponsor us, I mean, like I said, we stand against, a fight against GBV and femicide. If there's a person who feels, look, this is a very good initiative, I want to be part of it. I want to, want my brand to be part of that organization. And by all means, they can, link up with me on Instagram, or Twitter or Facebook. My name is Nobantu Maisela, just like that. My Maisela does not have a Y. And then with the votes, people can go to www.missbachelorette.co.za, and then they go to competitions, and then they get to see Miss Bachelorette will pop out, and they will see all the contestants. They just look for Nobantu Maisela. They vote. The vote starts from 10 rand and just 40 rand, because they created them in bundles. So,
Okay.
and they can vote as much as they want. And that's how they can vote for me. And anyone who wants to follow my story, even on TikTok, they can follow me just to get an update if they missed something just now when I was explaining. Nobantu Maisela, it's just simple like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do you want to share with us before we close off? Any other thing?
No, nothing. Besides that, it would be really great to see you guys joining us at Gold Reef City when we're doing the official crowning. I'm hoping you guys can decide amongst each other as a station, if you know. It would really be lovely. But other than that, there's nothing else. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It really means a lot.
All right. Let me speak to my bosses with regards to that. I'm sure we can cook up something.
Thank you so much. I'll hear from you then.
Yes, folks, that's Nobantu Maisela, the Miss Bachelorette finalist. Please do go to www.missbachelorette.co.za. Look for Nobantu Maisela without a Y, and please do vote. This is for a good cause. You're still tuned in to The Bliss with the Duke, your mother's favorite boyfriend.